Good afternoon here in Spain. It's been an emotional morning. Having sat and watched the Pope's Mass for his funeral, it's been unbelievable. It has been unbelievable, and it makes you proud. It makes me proud anyway. Makes me proud of the religion that I was brought up with, and the fact that I'm in such a religious country. But it is all about Celtic. God bless the Pope. May he rest in peace. It's all about today, isn't it? Today's the day. Celtic have won the title in Dundee at Dundee United twice in the last 20 odd years. 2008 was a fantastic, absolutely brilliant. I've got it etched in my memory that day, and it was such a fantastic day up at Dundee that day, and it was just brilliant. It was just absolutely brilliant. We then done it under Ange Postecoglou. And we're about to do it again. Dundee United is a place that holds a special, special place. Will it be 4-0 today like it was before? Or will it be just getting it all over the line? Celtic have released the picture of the pitch up at Dundee United. Looking absolutely fantastically great. And we're just waiting on the team coming out. I thought it was a good time to post this picture of the time that Celtic were in Rome and they met the late Pope Francis. Absolute honour for everyone from Celtic Football Club to be there that day and to be in the presence of the Pope. And I think that it's only fitting that they have a minute's silence today before the game. And I think every team in Scotland should be having a minute's silence. I changed a winning team from last week. Well, let's get rid of not get rid of it, but let's just take away the picture of the Pope and Celtic. Oh, Papa Francesco, ole. Let's see what he's saying about Peter Larkin says, morning, Pope's funeral so sad. May he rest in peace. Life goes on. We win the league 4 in a row. Hail, hail. Don't be too confident though. Dundee United are tricky customers. They are that. Dundee United they've got a lot to play for. Have Dundee United a lot to play for. And when we look at how Dundee United have managed this season, you've got to say hats off to them. The fact that we did draw 0-0 up there. It is imperative that we get it over the line today. We are just waiting on Brendan Rodgers' team being announced. The players will know who is going to start the game today. They will be going through their preparations before heading out to do the warm-up. I'm sure that Brendan Rodgers will be having a chat with the players individually and collectively, and I'm sure Callum McGregor will be going around each and every player and talking to them as well as James Forrest. I think James Forrest will just be saying, this is the day, lads. This is the day. This is the day that we win away. And not winning away by means of the Champions League, but winning away at Dundee United so that we can once again become Scottish champions. But this time, it's a little bit special. This one takes us to our 55th Scottish title. For the 55th time, Celtic will be Scottish champions. It will be official today if we get it over the line. Brendan Rodgers will get the players and the staff in a circle within the dressing room before kick-off, after they've been out for their warm-up, and he'll give them the motivational speech that any manager in his shoes would do. Any manager but it's not any manager. It's Brendan Rodgers. And Brendan Rodgers is getting ready to go for another treble at Celtic. Another treble. Which I just think is absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let me just jump through the comments. Yeah, there's always one or two that complain, but never mind. Callum will say, right lads, we've got to do this. Yes, he will be saying, right, we've got to do this. And some folk are just talking nonsense in the comment section, as always. Ian Roy's going for 6-1. The odds on that, the bigoted banners up on Paisley later today. What do you think the scoreline will be before the team's gone up? Robert says 4-1. Lanky's going for 6-1. That would be a cracking scoreline. Mark Stoddart says 4-0 to the champions. It was 4-0 before when Celtic won the title up in Dundee. Leah Labada, I'm sure, scored. Kyogo. I can't remember, actually, a few years back. I can remember, it's funny because I can't really remember because I was probably watching it on, well, I would have been watching it from here, but I can remember the one back in 2008, clear as day. But the one on the Range, I think you don't have the memories as much as when you're not at the game. When you're at the game and you're taking it all in, you're taking it all in. And will you be going to Celtic Park this afternoon if Celtic do the business? Will you be going to Celtic Park this afternoon if they do the business? And well, the sound's fine on this side, so you need to turn it up, your microphones, because I'm listening and it come through on this through YouTube and it's fine. So turn your own. It's honestly, and I've just been given confirmation from through the other room that the sound is fine. 4-1 Celtic. Stephen's going for 3-1 Celtic. Paul's going for 4-0 Celtic. Stephen Johnson's going for 3-1 Celtic. Lanky's going for 6-1 Jota. 4-1. I hope James Forrest scores, says Square Sausage Mick. Yep, I hope that James Forrest scores also, because it will be a remarkable end to the season. Sounds fine after closing and reloading. See, it's nothing to do with it's your end. Could be 2-1 today, a nervy game. 1-0, nervy game. Dundee United have third place to play for. They do have third place to play for, but I think it's always written in the stars. And the team is out. Sinisalo, Johnston, Carter Vickers, Scales, Taylor, McGregor, Arnie Engels, Rio Hatate. The front three of Nico Kuhn, Jota and Dyson Maida through the middle. Yes, Dyson Maida is through the middle. Absolutely spot on from, I think it was Lanky that got the team in. I'll just get it on the screen before we give you... Forrest isn't starting though. Forrest isn't starting. Is that a shock? Or is it right that Brendan Rodgers puts the best team out possible? And team, why is it so... What's going on here? I don't know. We'll just get that up there. Get it as big as possible. So there, the team is on the screen now. And on the bench today, Scott Bain, I'm listening to the bells go off for the Popes, Bain, Trusty, Adam Eder, Luke McCown, Sloop, Johnny Kenny's on the bench. Johnny Kenny's on the bench. The manager is going for it today. He has two strikers on the bench. He's been listening to what I've been saying. The manager has changed tact and he's went for two strikers on the bench today. Absolutely fantastic by Brendan. He's also got Bernardo, Forrest and Ralston on the bench also. Will Johnny Kenny be the player to cement his place in history and come on and score a goal for Celtic in the game that makes sure that we are Scottish champions again? I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm so glad Johnny Kenny's managed to get onto the bench. I did say over the last couple of weeks it's difficult to see who you take off the bench for young Johnny Kenny to come on. When you look at, he's got Forrest. He's only got one winger. He does have only the one winger on the bench. Trusty Adamida, McCown, Sloop, Kenny, Bernardo, Forrest, Ralston. So who's missing? Yang, obviously, he's out injured. And he's out injured. Jim, you need to turn your own volume because everyone else is fine. Anyway. So that is the team today. Tell me what you think about the scoreline now that you've seen the team. I hope we get 3 or 4 up and give Kenny and Bernardo some game time. Yep. For those that are going to moan about Kuhn and other players, look at it this way. Brendan has made his point to the top players. He has. He's made his point to the top players that these are the players that he trusts. Like, these are the players that we were going into the Champions League games with at the beginning of the first half of the season. If these players were not the ones that were starting during the Champions League game, you would all be saying, what the hell is Brendan doing? What is Brendan doing? He's played his strongest team, and that's the strongest team possible. If Kyogo was still here, Kuhn maybe been on the bench, Jota maybe been on the bench, because Kyogo would have been starting the game today. Dyson Maeda is our most prolific goal scorer that we have at the club at the moment, in terms of goals that he's scored this season. James Forrest will come on in the second half. It will be either Kuhn or Jota. There'll be a double substitution at that point because you'll get one of the strikers coming on. Will it be Adam Ida or will it be Johnny Kenny? I hope it's Johnny Kenny. And no disrespect to Adam Ida, he's a fantastic player, but I think this is the game that you can put yourself down in history to the person that scores the last goal in the game, to make sure that that's the goal that will be remembered. It won't be the first goal that will be remembered today. It will be the last goal before the final whistle, because that's the goal that makes sure that Celtic are champions again. Ole, ole. Definitely 2 goals from Jota and Kuhn today, said Lanky. Do you think you'll get two goals from Jota and Kuhn? Hitman Hart says, has a fantastic day. You're partaking in the cheeky water. Please be sensible and stay safe. I'd like to see Kenny get some minutes. I've just got a funny feeling that Johnny Kenny's going to come on and score, and he'll be remembered like Harold Brackback was remembered and is remembered for the player that scored the goal that won us the league. Harold Brackback was you would never think that Harold Brackback would go down with his place in history, but I just think today is one of those days to get the opportunity for him to come on. Don't change winning teams. Trusty will never make it at Celtic. I'd be happy to pass the ball back to the keeper or CCV all day. Oh, it's a bit of a dig at the player who is on the bench. Sloop is also on the bench, considering that Taylor starts the game today. Will it be the game that Taylor scores a cracker from outside the box? Lanky says, yep, they'll be up for it, especially being dropped for weeks. It's all about how they bounce back. That counts 100%. The fact that Jota and Kuhn have been dropped to the bench the last couple of weeks, maybe Brendan Rodgers was keeping them in cold storage for this game and the game next week. You want to make sure that your best players get as much game time as possible, because let's face it, Brendan Rodgers will not want to be the manager who's been beaten 3 times by that mob across the city. He will want to go to Ibrox in full pelt, having won the league today, and go to Ibrox next week full of confidence and in the knowledge that we're champions again. There's going to be, that gives us 2 or 3 yards of a head start with them all day long. But they'll see it as, look, we've beat them twice, we could beat them again. But now we're champions. Kenny's a nobody. Why are you even talking about him? Douglas, if you want the young players to come through, and be a success, you have to expect them to come through and be a success. Johnny Kenny is just like any other younger player that's came through the system at Celtic. You know, when a player that's coming back next year, young Kieran Tierney, started keeping Emilio Ezagiri out the team, everyone talked him up then. I'm always going to talk up the young players that come through the system at Celtic. And I know that he didn't come through from a young age, but he's one of our own, and he's one of the youth players that have came through the academy to a certain extent. He's went out on loan. He's done everything that Celtic asked them to do. This is what Brendan Rodgers said, go and get your football education. So why shouldn't we talk him up? Why shouldn't we give him? I hope he comes on and scores and makes a name for himself today. I really do. It's all about opinions. It is all about opinions. Really want Kenny to give him a chance. Yep, said Arda. Bratback, remember that day? Shame he missed a few open goals. Yes, it's a shame Bratback missed a few open goals, but he's remembered for one goal. And this is what I'm talking about. Nobody remembers all the opportunities that Harold Bratback missed back in the day. Do you know? Nobody really thinks about them. But you remember that one goal. You remember that one goal that he scored for Celtic that won us the league. The one that ultimately made sure that we were champions. And all I'm saying, if Johnny Kenny comes on today and he does the exact same, he will forever be remembered. Tony Watt's only remembered for one goal at Celtic. Tony Watt's only remembered for getting the ball just over the halfway line and running and scoring against Barcelona. That's his claim to fame. That's his piece of history. And I think that if Johnny Kenny comes on today and does the exact same, he will deserve his little place in history, knowing that he's helped us win the championship. I'm finding all this silverware collecting extremely tedious, says Monty. It's terrible, isn't it? Could you imagine James Forrest? I mean, he's sitting with this. He's got more medals than an Iraqi general. Anyway, one of the most important goals in our history. It was one of the most important goals in our history, but it was also, it's putting it into perspective that players can be remembered for one thing and one thing only. And I think that might happen. Didn't Harold score 6 in a game? I think he did at one point. Glasgow's Green, leave the young lad alone. They're trying his best and he's doing what's after the club. Some folk honestly says Glasgow's Green and white. Yes, this is true. This is true. Some people just like to have a dig at the youth side of Celtic because it's maybe not performing as good, or maybe they just think, look, you should only be talking about our stars. He's got more medals than the king. He has that. Trebles 8, only tedious if you're not winning them. Let's just get this one done today before we start talking about trebles. Let's just get this one won and this one in the bag. Let's see what some people are saying online about that team. Is Keogh injured or has he fell out the manager's plans? Not seen him in weeks. It's officially Taylor time. Oh, that's an interesting one. It's officially Taylor time. And then there's a picture of champions again, and that's the corner that I stood in. It's got Rio Hitati in 2021-22 season. In the exact same corner that I stood in 2008. 2008 when we won it under Gordon Strachan. And it was absolutely fantastic. And it's funny because that game... This is the afternoon game. This is the first time that we've done it in daylight. All the other two games were a late kickoff. They were a late kickoff, and it was dark at the time that the game had finished. But this game, it's an early kickoff. We could be champions before anyone else kicks off today. Scales, God, why Scales? Strong team, says Gaza. Philippe Jota, Scales never fails. A couple of pictures with the Pope and Brendan Rodgers. A few people saying, time to become the most successful league side in the country. No Forest, criminal. Brendan strikes again with the old pals act. So a few people complaining about the fact that James Forrest hasn't started. Best left back in Scotland's playing today. Ooh, tedious trophy day at Tannadice. That's quite good. It's another tedious trophy day. Oh my goodness. That's quite a good one. That I'm gonna borrow that one. We should get that on the screen actually. Oh, that's cracker. Oh, let's get this up on the screen. 2 seconds. Put a new picture up for it. Today is the day that is tedious trophy day at Paradise. Oh, brilliant. There we go. I'm just going to keep that up. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely love that. It was also an early kick-off we won against Hearts 2 years ago. It's all in good stead. We are already champions unless they score 40 goals with the maximum points, and we get out with no goals. Exactly. There will be fights in Paisley when Celtic fans celebrate the Huns in town. It'll be interesting, Paisley, later on today. I win today and Brendan can sit in the dugout next week wearing his sombrero and flip-flops. I don't think that'll happen, but I think that you want to make sure. Rangers have 53.5 titles. They were also... they shared the title with Dumbarton back in the day. Yeah, they're already on our heels, aren't they? 53.5 titles. And I got to love that picture. I actually got to love that picture. I think it's fantastic. Tedious Trophy Day at Tannadice. 4-0. Joe McFarlane is going for 4-0 Celtic this afternoon. I'm still going to go for 4-0. I'm going to go Dundee United 0 Celtic. I'm sticking to the scoreline that I've had all week. Dundee United 4, Celtic 0. Joe says he thinks it's going to be 4-0. Paul said it was an early kick-off. We won it against Hearts 2 years ago. That puts us in good stead that it's another early kick-off, so hopefully that'll be another one. Joe McFarlane is going for 4-0. He's put that down twice, so I'm reading it twice. Stephen Kelly is going for 3-1. They sat Trump next to the toilets. Talking about Trump, we were sitting watching the funeral and I turned around to the hand of God and said, look at that reprobate Trump sitting with a blue suit on. And everyone else is in black. And then I got a text from my mum about 5 minutes later. Have you seen Trump in a blue suit? I was like, ball bag. Is it alright to call Trump a ball bag? I think it is, isn't it? Ball bag. Proud to be a tedious Tim. But Taylor has said, has Taylor signed a new contract? No, he hasn't. He hasn't signed a new contract. No matter what other people say, he hasn't as yet. I think he will, but he hasn't as yet. Square Sausage Mix going for 3-0. Paul Meekin's going for 2-1 Celtic. Richard Smith say it's going to be 3-0 in the first 30 minutes. Jamie Brown's going for 5-1 Celtic. Frank Bonner said it's going to go 5-0. Apparently in the scoreline, Rodgers has won other titles. Oh, that's an interesting one. He's got the team for it today. He's definitely got the team for it. When you see the players that have started the game, it's a Champions League starting team. I mean, that's the team that would start in any Champions League game this season. Ball bag is too tedious to describe that team. Sinisalo is the only player that wouldn't have started back in the Champions League campaign due to the fact that our number one goalkeeper would have been starting. But the outfield team is as good as anything that played in the Champions League this season. When you see the players that can come off the bench and score, I think James Forrest will be the first to come on. I think there'll be a double substitution in the second half of the game. It will be James Forrest and Adam Ida to come on to the pitch. And at that point, Brendan Rodgers might change the system slightly and go to a 4-4-2. It'll be interesting to see if he finishes the game a 4-4-2 system to try and get on the field young Johnny Kenny to play up front alongside Adam Ida. A little nod to a change of formation perhaps next season. And I think that when you look at next season, the fact that Kieran Tierney doesn't mix it up into the area of the pitch in this sort of midfield area that Greg Taylor does, I think it would be good. I think it's good that Brendan Rodgers is maybe toying with the idea of a little change of formation. It's the Pope's funeral. Don't think folks should be talking about Trump. We're talking about the fact that he was the only person, that Trump is the only person in the audience to not be wearing black at the Pope's funeral. And that's the only reason we're talking about. Strong Dean today, can't bloody wait. The party at Paradise post match. Mark Stoddart's going for 4-0 James Forrest to come on and score. Dundee will be green and white and orange. Alan Stevenson's going for 5-1 Celtic. Danny, Celtic supporter, is going for Dundee 0 Celtic. There's that many zeros. I'm going to count. Gus said it's going to be 3-1 Celtic. 3-1 Celtic. Donald Mackey, he reckons it is going to be... Where is it? It's gone. 2-0 Celtic. I think it's going to be a tough game. And Mon the Tick Mick, he reckons it's going to be 5-0 Celtic. And Stevie B119, he says it's going to be 2-0 Celtic this afternoon. I am going to be leaving it shortly to head down to the Hoops Bar in Guardamar del Segura. The live after the game will come from the Hoops Bar, so it's not going to be from here. I'm hoping there's a good turnout today down at the Hoops Bar. And then there's a couple of other pubs. I'm going to do, between now and the end of the season, I'm going to go down. There's another Celtic bar where young Jackie McNamara, Simon Donnelly and Alan Thompson were just a few weeks ago doing a Celtic evening. And that seems to be, they're turning that into a big Celtic bar down in Cabalroig. So I'm going to try and go down there to watch a game before the end of the season. And do a live from there after the game, as long as there's not too much music afterwards. A tedious pitch invasion. I don't think that there'll be a tedious pitch invasion. There won't be a pitch invasion because Dundee United have said that the reason that that Celtic fans are paying £42 a ticket today, the reason that they're paying £42 a ticket is so they can employ more stewards and more police. There's not going to be a pitch invasion. You can't get down on it. Could you imagine trying to do a pitch invasion for that stand? There's no chance. Everybody trying to file down a single staircase to get on the pitch. Less about 66. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll get to 100 league goals today. Yes, we will. We are only 3 goals away from the magic 100. And I think that will be... Can Celtic then go on and break records? Can they go on and break records at Celtic between now and the end of the season? Going with the number of goals that is scored. I think so. Who do you think will be first to score today? I'm going to say it. Dijsselmaijder. But then again, I said Dijsselmaijder last week and then I changed my mind to Callum McGregor. I changed my mind and then I was like, will it be Callum McGregor or will it be Dijsselmaijder? And who steps up and scores an absolute screamer? Maybe it will be a Calmac day. Maybe it'll be a Calmac day because he wants to be known as one of the best midfielders that Celtic have had when it comes to scoring goals. And Taylor. It wouldn't surprise me if it was Taylor. It wouldn't surprise me, Richard, if it was Taylor today. Hats off to him because he's had a lot of stick from fans over the season about won't he sign a contract for Celtic. Everyone knows my opinion on it. I think he's a player that if he does walk away from Celtic for nothing, he should have been sold. But that comes with a little caveat. And maybe Celtic not selling him. And that would have been in the back of Taylor's mind coming up to the transfer window at Christmas, just after Christmas in January. It would have been in Taylor's mind because he knows that when players get to the end of their contract at Celtic, they've been sold. And they don't get a chance to say goodbye to everyone because it generally happens that quick towards the end of the window. So Taylor must have been sitting going, I fucking hope the club didn't just go, do you know what, we're just going to sell him. He's not signed a contract, he's gone. But he hasn't. I've given Greg Taylor my fair share of stick, but I really hope he stays with Celtic. Sinisalo with diving header in the opening minute. Don't say that. Jota first goal. Taylor, lol. Arne Engels first goal. Kuhn first goal. 5-0 win. I think Hatate will score the first goal today. I'm not too sure about that. Jim McClatchy says, enjoy yourselves everyone. Hope you have a safe and happy win. Half time the team's going to score today. Half the team's going to score today. Do you think half so? And the Arabs nil, the Popes 11-4, says Lubo. Have a 55th party, so the neighbours know. No boy today, lol. Is there no boy today? I wonder why. Anyway, right, what time is it? It's about time for me to wrap this one up. Thank you to everyone who has been on the channel. Make sure that you do join us after the game today, where we will come live from the Hoops Bar in Guardamar del Segura. When does the Sky coverage start? It will probably start in around about 20 minutes time, 22 minutes time. I've got a 20 minutes drive down to where the pub I'm going to, so I'm going to head down there early. Sky has started. Well, there you go. Well, there's a Rangers fan in on the comments. There you go. Nice to have you along. There's been over 1,000 people on the live so far. There's currently 304 on. There's only 69 likes. Get it up to more. Hasta luego, peeps, says Richard. On that note, I'm going to head off. I'm going to head down to the pub and have a fantastic day. Celtic fans, champions again. Ole ole for the 55th time. 55 times of winning titles. Have an absolutely brilliant day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.